So if you install in a physical or virtual machine, then you boot from the installation media, and this is the installation menu that you will get. Obviously, from the installation menu, you will select Install Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. After selecting the installation option, the operating system needs to be loaded, so you will see a blinking cursor for a couple of seconds. And then you will see the messages of the system that is initializing. Don't worry if you see any errors, this is just the installation system that is loading. So here you can see the installation screen of Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8. Notice that in the upper right corner you can see pre-release testing. That is because we are in the beta software, and when you are installing the final version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8, you shouldn't see this message. So in this first screen you select the language and the keyboard layout. The language is going to be English, and the keyboard layout for my computer is English United States. You might have to choose something else according to the keyboard layout that you are using. After making your selection, you can click Continue to continue. So in this installation summary screen, there's a couple of things that we need to take care of. Let me walk through the most important things. First, on the left there is localization. Localization is all that relates to the local settings of the server that you are installing. Normally, based on the selection that you have made before, keyboard and language support should be okay. The only thing that's not okay here is time and date, which is America, New York time zone. I'm not in America, New York. I am in this time zone right now. Notice that for specifying the time zone, you can use network time. But network time only works if you are connected to the network. We are not connected to the network yet, so I'm just going to skip that now. Also, it makes sense when you specify the time zone to make sure that your clock is more or less accurate. So this is more or less accurate. The reason why I want to set it to more or less accurate is because if the clock is off too much, it's not going to be possible to synchronize time. And you don't want that to happen. So set the clock and then you click Done before you continue. Next, there is a software selection. So in the software selection you can see installation source, which is obvious. This is the installation media that you started from. The important part is in software selection, which by default goes to a minimal install. For a typical server, minimal install is just fine. But for what we want to do here, minimal server is not what we want. Because I would like you to be able to work with a graphical user interface. And that is why I'm going to select Workstation. So in Workstation we automatically get all the packages that are needed for graphical management of the server. I have already mentioned that often Linux servers don't run a graphical user interface, but for this course we do need the graphical user interface anyway. So select Workstation, even if we are going to install a server. The actual packages that are going to be present on this machine are going to be installed later on anyway. So for now we can click Done and then we continue. On the right part you can see System Settings. Because of a driver problem I cannot see the entire name of the settings that we've got here. But you should be able to see the complete names and distinguish between installation destination, kdump, network host, security policy and system purpose. We need to start with installation destination. As you can see, this option is marked in red. And marked in red means that there's a problem and we need further information before we can proceed. So the reason it is marked in red is that because this option is going to overwrite the total contents of your hard disk. You can see my hard disk right here. In my virtualization software I have created an NVMe disk. The reason I've done it is because I'm on the beta software of RHEL 8, and in this version of the software normal SCSI disks are not supported yet. And the reason I need to confirm is that the installer is going to overwrite everything on this hard disk. And that is not something that the installer is going to do without your specific approval of that. So you need to get in there. There's nothing really that needs to be changed. Only click OK to get back in the main installation summary screen. Next we can see the network and host name. So in network and host name we can see in the upper left corner that it has found a network card. The network card we are using in this server is an Ethernet network card, and the name of the network card is ENS33. The actual name of the network card will be different depending on the driver that you are using and depending on the network card model that you are using. Depending on your hardware, you might see more than one network card. You might also see wireless network interface cards. But RHCSA is about servers, and in servers wireless network cards are not really relevant, and for that reason we are not going to discuss the configuration of Wi-Fi network cards. There is one thing though that needs to happen here, and that is the slider, which by default is set to off, which means that your Ethernet network card currently is disconnected. I want it to connect, so I'm sliding to on. And normally the result should be that you automatically get an IP address. The IP address is provided by the DHCP server in your network. As I am using virtualization software, all of the virtualization software has an embedded DHCP server that makes sure that virtual machines can get IP configuration. And for now, that's just fine. I'll teach you later how you can change this dynamically configured IP address into something static. Next you can click Done, and that will bring you back to the main installation screen. Now there's a couple more options, but for now I just want to show you the minimal requirements of starting an installation. So we are good, and I can click Begin Installation. Now while the installation is beginning, you can see it is already starting to create file system, and very soon it will start to copy packages over to the system. While it is doing that, there are two things that need to be done right now. I need to set a root password, and I need to create a user account. So let's click on a root password is not set. That brings me to an interface that allows me to set the root password. As you can see, I'm using a password that is weak. And because my password is weak, in the lower part of the screen we can see the message that the password fails the dictionary check. It's based on the dictionary word, and you will have to press Done twice to confirm it. Normally you would not set a weak password, but for a demo system I like using weak passwords, so I'm clicking Done and Done again, and then it has set the root password and it can continue. Next we need to create a user. So I am clicking User Creation, because by default no user will be created. It is a very bad idea to have a system where you can only log in as root. So I want to create a user, and I'm going to call this user student. And here also I'm setting the password to password. Require a password to set to use this account obviously is a useful option. The option Make this user administrator is an option that is going to allow your user to run the sudo command. But I'm going to show you how to do that manually later in this course. So for now I'm not going to select this option, but if right after installation you want to be able to use sudo as this user account, you are free to select Make this user administrator. Next I'm clicking Done twice again, and then we need to wait. It's currently installing package 400 something out of 1400, so this procedure might take up to 10 minutes to complete. So at this point the initial installation is done. Time to reboot. So this is what we see first. There's a license agreement. So you need to agree. This is the Red Hat Enterprise Linux license. It's mainly about the use of the logo in Red Hat, which is proprietary, and the intellectual property rights and so on. Obviously Red Hat itself is open source software. So the software itself falls under the GPL2 license, but the Red Hat logo is proprietary, and it's not allowed to distribute that without any specific permission by Red Hat. After accepting the license agreement, you can finish the configuration. and then it will boot into your installed operating system. So right here we can see the name of users currently existing. So while installing, I created a user with the name student. Let me click the name of that user and let me enter the password of the user so that we can log in as a user and go through the initial setup for this specific user's environment. So this is the screen that you will see when you log in as a user for the first time. It's asking for language again. In case you wonder why, well, while installing Red Hat Enterprise Linux, we have selected the language for the entire server. But for individual users, it is possible to set a specific language for that specific user. So the user environment will be in French, for example, or whatever you want it to be. Well, the server itself is still in the language that you specified during installation. Likewise, you can set a keyboard for that user, and you can set some privacy-related services as well. Nothing really important in there, so I would say you just do next, 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 skip, and then you are ready to start using Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So after going through the little wizard, this is the Getting Started screen. Let's click that away. Let's go to Activities, and let's type term so that we can start the terminal. This is the only thing that really matters in the graphical user interface. This is the terminal that we are going to be working with.